I want to show you just how much we've lost our minds when it comes to foreign policy. Look at this. White House warns of Syrian preparation for chemical attack. Now, pay attention to the wording here. The U.S. has identified potential preparations for another chemical weapons attack by the Assad regime in Syria, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said in a Monday night statement. Such an attack would likely result in the mass murder of civilians, including innocent children, Spicer added, noting the activity is similar to preparations the regime made before its April 4th, 2017 chemical weapons attack. Now, media outlets reached out to the Pentagon and were like, oh, hey, look at the statement the White House made. The Pentagon was like, yeah, well, new phone, who this? What are you talking about? We don't even know what he's talking about. Apparently nobody else who actually monitors these things is like, yeah, that's happening. So the White House just came out and made this erratic statement. And again, the wording. Look at the wording. The U.S. has identified potential preparations. What does that even mean? So one thing, hey, we've identified preparations for a chemical attack. I don't know, so you're at a facility and you see the movement of chemical weapons or something when you're doing your spying or whatever. Potential preparations. Like, yeah, no, we could be planning for a chemical attack, or they could be not doing it. It's potential. It's just potential. I use the word potential, so get off my ass. And it would likely result in the murder of civilians. Likely. It's likely. Hasn't happened yet. And yeah, okay, the Syrian army's fighting ISIS. But yeah, but it likely result, it might, in the future, at some point, maybe result in the murder of civilians. What are we going to do? We gotta respond. We gotta respond. Now, this is what they're saying. While the government, the Trump administration, is screaming about this, look at this from Foreign Policy not that long ago. The United States used depleted uranium in Syria. That's a chemical weapon. The airstrikes on oil trucks in Islamic State-controlled areas employed the toxic material, which has been accused of causing cancer and birth defects. So, the exact thing that we're accusing the Syrian government of doing. Oh my God, you're using chemical weapons. That's a violation of international law. And you've killed civilians with said chemical weapons. That's what we're doing. We're using chemical weapons, and we've killed civilians. It's like just the most overwhelming case of projection I've ever seen in my life. But I have one more for you, too. Look at this from the Washington Post. U.S.-led forces appear to be using white phosphorus in populated areas in Iraq and Syria. Now, again, they say, well, I mean, we're using it on ISIS. I don't know what you mean. No, but in reality, there was evidence they used it in Raqqa. Raqqa, yes, ISIS is there. In fact, it's their so-called capital. But it also has tens of thousands of civilians, including women and children, and they're using white phosphorus there, which is illegal under international law. You can't use white phosphorus in civilian-populated areas. You're not allowed to use depleted uranium tips at all. So, let's review one more time. The U.S. is saying, hey, Assad, who gave up his chemical weapons, by the way, the UN oversaw it. Remember the whole episode a few years back? John Kerry and the Russian official, hey, is there anything that Assad could do to avoid you attacking him? John Kerry says, yeah, he could give up all of his chemical weapons, but that's not going to happen. The next day, Assad was like, here, take all my chemical weapons. So Assad, who gave up his chemical weapons, is potentially preparing for an attack that would likely kill civilians, maybe, kind of, not really, but we don't know. We're just saying. Maybe. Potential. And that's so bad that we need to immediately act. But the U.S. uses depleted uranium tips, white phosphorus, civilian-populated areas, and nobody says, hey, maybe it's time for regime change in the U.S. Maybe Russia shoots a Scud missile at the White House and replaces our authoritarian leader because he's such a tyrannical dictator who's using chemical weapons on civilians. Nobody says that. Nobody says that. Because we have different standards. If you're an enemy state, we will take the tiniest infraction and say, oh my God, regime change. We got a regime change. We got a regime change. We got to change it. I mean, look at what this guy's doing. He's jaywalking. Do you believe that regime is jaywalking? But for us, we're doing the exact same thing we're accusing him of doing. And by the way, the media, nobody's connecting the dots here. The media covered the depleted uranium thing, or very few outlets did, but some did. And they covered the white phosphorus thing. But nobody's saying now, hey, what you just accused the Syrian government of doing, you did. Nobody's saying that, even though all the evidence is there. And by the way, there is no evidence, none. They've presented zero evidence for their accusations against the Syrian government using chemical weapons. None. They presented none. None whatsoever. And Seymour Hersh, legendary journalist, is out with a new article saying, yeah, the Assad government didn't really use it, and it's exactly what the jihadist rebels want you to believe. They want, oh my God, incredible dictator, tyrannical, you got to go topple him, and then, hey, maybe we fill the vacuum. Maybe us jihadists and Islamists, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, maybe we fill the vacuum, so, oh my God, look, brutal dictator, get rid of him and then let us get in charge, and don't worry, we won't be brutal. You're fucking jihadists. Propaganda all day long. I don't know what they're planning, but by the way, Trump has given a green light to the military-industrial complex to do whatever they want. All the neocons in the deep state are now running foreign policy. So they're trying here, man. They want to do regime change. They don't give a fuck that we shouldn't even be in Syria in the first place. They don't give a fuck that jihadists might fill the vacuum. They don't give a fuck that this escalates with Russia into a potential conflict with them because Russia backs the Syrian government. They don't care. The neocons want the exact opposite of what the American people want. They don't give a shit. We did what we accused them of doing. And we talk about world police, human rights, freedom, democracy. Anyway, let's us use chemical weapons on civilian populations as we accuse other governments of doing it. What a sick joke.